Hello everyone, Ron and David here, coming to you from our website, astrologynewsreport.com.
Now we look at the upcoming planetary patterns and predictions. What's in store in the heavens for March 2nd to March 9th and beyond.
This week we are going to do a special analysis of Mars retrograde, detailing what to expect for each rising sign. Remember folks, this is the rising sign, not the sun sign, and we are using the sidereal zodiac, that is to say, the real one that you can see with the naked eye.
In Vedic astrology, we also calculate transits from the natal moon position. So if you know your Vedic moon sign, the results for each rising sign will work from the moon's position as well.
Now, one other thing to keep in mind is the fact that for the first 3 weeks of this Mars retrograde period, Mars is getting an extra twist from the energy of the eclipse point Rahu, the north node of the moon.
So, besides the usual read of frustration and submerged aggression from a retrograde Mars, Rahu will contribute its obsessive, ambitious, and cravenous bent to a jammed-up Mars.
Yes, David, we can think of Rahu as a magnifier because it carries the energy of an ambitious demon. Another quality of Rahu is that it produces a kind of distortion, a funhouse mirror effect, but not so fun. So we should keep Rahu in mind too, as we go through Mars's retrograde effects for the 12 signs of the zodiac.
Let's get started, and as always with Aries rising, Mars retrograde is happening in your 7th house of partnership, whether that be the business partner or the spouse. This indicates problems in that department or trouble in the partner's life. The 7th house also indicates clients who may be dragging their heels on committing to a deal. Whatever deals are in the pipeline, this could be a good time to rework the plan.
For Taurus rising, Mars ends up in the problematic 6th house of struggle, difficulty, disease, debt, and employment. A retrograde Mars here is not a welcome energy in this part of your chart when it comes to your health, or debt management, or the job situation. Normally, Mars transiting in the 6th house is useful for overcoming competitors and enemies, but when it is retrograde, actions against enemies may well backfire. Caution is a good strategy at this time.
A Gemini rising person has Mars retrograde in the 5th house of romance, creativity, children, investing, and even the longevity of your boss. Romance may have to undergo reconsideration. Investors, beware of taking undue risks. Artists may have to be able to step away from the easel before smashing the canvas. Please come back to it later. And yes, your children may try to drive you insane, especially if things haven't been so smooth with them lately.
For Cancer rising, this transit hits home as the retro Mars is in the 4th house of domestic life, mother, comforts, and deep-seated feelings. Cancer is ruled by the moon, so there's a lot of sensitivity in the emotional world to begin with. The sense of peace and harmony is disrupted with this transit. Try not to overreact to irritation on the home front, and your mother may be needing some attention.
Leos must deal with this setup in their 3rd house of skills, efforts, written communication, and younger siblings. New projects tend to run into setbacks and delays. Better to concentrate on planning rather than jump into execution. Everyday actions will be more frustrating than usual. Written communications could have undesirable outcomes. Check in with your younger sibling, especially if recent times have already been tough.
And for Virgo rising, it's the 2nd house of speech, support, and money that gets the dose of jammed-up Mars energy with that twist of Rahuian distortion. Virgos already have a tendency to be critical, and having these malefic influences on the house of the mouth means that you have to take care not to speak harshly. Virgos are quite fastidious. Mars with Rahu in the 2nd house indicates putting bad things into your mouth as well. Otherwise, watch out for impulsive expenditure, since Mars retrograde plus Rahu in your house of money can lead to a sudden outflow in that department.
Though it is not fun to say, you folks who are Libra rising really do have to watch out for accidents. This transit is personal for you since it is right in your first house of the self and body. The tension created by Mars retrograde will be a palpable force causing everyday frustrations and a tendency to come into conflict with others. Be especially careful of impulse and haste leading to unintended consequences.
For Scorpio rising, malefic Mars retrograde is in your 12th house of loss, endings, the subconscious, dreams, and the unknown. This transit is especially problematic on a psychological level, which is a natural area for psychologically attuned Scorpios anyway. There is lots of potential for introspection, which can be a good thing, but unfortunately there's also the potential for anxiety, fear of the unknown, or even someone trying to undermine you.
A person born under the sign Sagittarius has the pressure cooker of Mars retrograde in their 11th house of ambitions, gains, friends, and elder co-borns. A crisis may arise for a friend or associate or for an older sibling, and the relationship with them may suffer. Your ambitions are thwarted, and the profit picture will be less than what you had hoped for. On the plus side, use this transit towards reconfiguring your approach to realizing your goals.
Capricorn rising people have to deal with Mars retrograde at the zenith of the chart, the 10th house of career, profession, business activities, and public actions. These areas will tend to experience setbacks. Any professional or community actions planned for this month will likely fail to produce the anticipated results unless carefully thought out and executed.
For Aquarius, Mars will be retrograde in the 9th house of good fortune. This is also the 9th house of teacher, guru, father, journeys, religion, morals, and beliefs. This looks like a test of faith is in the offing. The relationship with the father or the guru could get bumpy, and long-distance travel is not recommended.
And finally, for Pisces people, Mars retrograde afflicts the problematic 8th house. This transit is rather suspicious since the 8th house already has the signification of obstacles, and malefics transiting here can be especially harmful. The 8th house is also financial arrangements with others, which will likely be under some stress. Financial planning could benefit from some re-examination.
Well, there you have it for the 12 signs, and of course we will be giving you updates as the weeks progress.
Okay, today, March 2nd, Saturn begins its retrograde period. Saturn is now at 29 degrees, the very end of Libra, its sign of exaltation. Saturn will now back up in the zodiac to 22 degrees Libra, where it will end its retrograde period on July 20th.
So what are the effects of Saturn retrograde, Ron?
Well, basically, it's Saturn times 2. Saturn is already the planet of delay and restriction, and when it is going backwards in the heavens, it just creates further delays and problems.
And Saturn is the established order, the hierarchy of power, the physical and internal reality structure. How does it fare?
The established order of things just becomes more entrenched. Thus, when Saturn is retrograde, change becomes even harder to achieve.
Oh, great. So now we have the planet of action, Mars, holding back, and the planet of the status quo, Saturn, holding on.
Yep, it's not a recipe for making progress.
And then there's yet another retrograde situation this week. But this is news we'd prefer to hear. On Thursday, March 6th, Jupiter will end its retrograde period. The planet of opportunity, optimism, wisdom, morals, and ethics resumes its normal forward motion in the heavens.
Jupiter has been retrograde since early last November. Jupiter is now at 16 degrees Gemini, and even after it turns direct, Jupiter barely moves 1 degree forward for the entire month of March. A planet that is stationary, or nearly so, is considered very strong.
While being virtually stationary, Jupiter is also exactly square to Uranus, which is at 16 degrees Pisces. Since Pisces is one of Jupiter's signs, Uranus is being ruled by Jupiter while the two planets are simultaneously in a challenging exact 90-degree aspect. What do you make of that connection, Ron?
While Uranus is freedom and independence, Jupiter is beliefs, morals and ethics, and the law. Due to this planetary pattern, Uranus, the planet of rebellion and eccentricity, is having an effect on Jupiter, the planet of beliefs and laws, resulting in various types of extremism. Jupiter is also hope and optimism. The qualities of Uranus, square to Jupiter, leads to a kind of overreaching.
So maybe we get eccentric laws. I'm thinking of that crazy right to discriminate law that almost became law in Arizona. That's certainly an example of overreaching.
Yeah.
We've also seen examples of this energy pattern over the past month, with Uranian revolts protesting the lack of Jupiterian ethical moral leadership in various countries around the world. And with the exception of Ukraine, most have been unsuccessful so far.
Yes, and even Ukraine is now in doubt. Partly they have been unsuccessful due to the strength of Saturn, the planet of the established order, in its sign of exaltation. Well, Saturn is now getting even stronger due to being in retrograde condition. That doesn't mean that revolts will all fail, but generally the powers that be will be more likely to prevail during the coming months.
That offbeat juice from electrifying Uranus is zapping Jupiter. Everyone from fed-up citizens to cranks think that they can ride their horses to their moral higher ground.
Yes, David, it looks like a pretty rambunctious month coming, as if things haven't already been so.
Thanks for visiting astrologynewsreport.com. Now on to segment 3 of this week's show.